Indian tourists now flood destinations around the world. On We Connect this week, we meet with Dr. Ajit Kumar, an expert on the economics of the tourism industry. Join us here on We Connect.
We Connect is brought to you in association with Vijaya Optical House, Broadway and Shanti Colony, Ananagar.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Over the past few years, the travel industry has increased by leaps and bounds in our country. And to fill us in with all of those details about the industry itself, we've invited onto our show today Dr. Ajit Kumar. Now, Dr. Kumar actually runs his own global conference management company, and he's one of the city's best-known tourism experts. Thank you so much, Ajit, for joining us today. Let's begin by talking about figures. How well is the industry actually doing? I did say leaps and bounds, but can you quantify that for us?
Globally, I don't think we are growing that much because India's tourism share is just 0.6%. And last year, 2010, we had 5.58 million tourists. And that's 9.3% growth, which by itself is good as a growth figure. But when you look at the overall global share, it's less than 1%.
Right. So you say we're not getting enough of the tourism pie.
Absolutely.
Right. Can we talk about the number of people who actually come into the country vis-a-vis those who actually travel outside of India?
Sure. Like I said, last year 5.58 million tourists. And
that was incoming?
Incoming. We call them inbound tourism.
Yeah.
And outbound was about 12 million.
That's a lot.
That's huge.
So are we saying here that Indians have become really big travelers?
Absolutely. Yeah. Indians are now the most sought after, if I should say that, use that expression, among the different countries, whether it's Southeast Asia, whether it's the Western countries, whether it's France, UK, all of them are targeting Indian travelers, mainly because of their spending. They are looking at the economic impact of tourism, which is in terms of how much revenue they earn or how much we spend when we go there.
Now, you of course have studied the economics of tourism. Now, do you believe that the number of people who are going out of our country, Indians like ourselves who travel, is it because of a better buying power or what? Or is it just the desire to travel, the desire to know, the desire to learn, to see distant lands?
Absolutely. Say about 10 years back, people used to travel abroad basically for business purposes. But now, within the last 5 years, the segment of people who are traveling for leisure, we call it leisure tourism, has grown exponentially. That's why you see these numbers hitting 12 million tourists. And it is in terms of spending which has gone up, and we figure among the first 5 high spending tourists in most countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, in Southeast Asia, even in the West, we are sought after as tourists from among the global market.
Is it because as Indians we love to shop?
Shopping definitely is a major concern for them.
But really, honestly, Ajit, I sometimes can't see why we are such big inveterate shoppers. What is this interest that we have in shopping?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not that now things are not available in India, but invariably when you go abroad, you have to come back with a lot of goodies. You have to
for
give
relations
to friends,
and
relations. Yes,
friends.
Absolutely. This is the underlying theme of buying things abroad. Maybe you want to use it for your own self, but also it's that I've been abroad and I bought this stuff.
Guess what I thought of you when I was out of the country.
Absolutely.
Ajit, what about when people are coming in, inbound tourism as you called it?
Yeah.
What is the reason really? We haven't seen that many, I mean, you did say 5.8 million people came into India.
Yeah.
That's not a very big number.
It's not a very big number, absolutely, because from whatever I've seen, you find demographically the age group of tourists, if you look, are 50 plus, 60 plus, who travel in groups. It is only the backpacker tourists who come into India on their own, who are in the age group below 30 or 25, 30. They are the guys who want to explore the country and see for themselves. But they don't go through any travel agent. They don't ask for any help. They come on their own. They go back on their own. But they experience India. So there are two groups like this. The guys who are coming to savor the experience of India, but assisted by tour operators, travel agents, and who need the comfort of that planning and itinerary. And the backpacker crowd, which come in on their own. They explore the destination and they're out, but they stay most time.
Right.
Maybe 20 days, 30 days. Average length of stay is about 21 days for them.
Right. The older age group that you're talking about who come in a planned sort of a tour, package tour, whatever
Yeah.
you may call it.
Yeah.
Now, these are people who are often very big spenders. Now, why isn't the number of those people inbound actually increasing, Ajit? There has to be some reason. Is it infrastructure? What is the problem? Why aren't more people coming to India? Has the magic of India somehow died?
No, the magic of India is growing. It's not died. And films like Gandhi and all have helped that. I think if you
Really?
look at that, one single film has contributed to bringing inbound tourists much more than any possible marketing
Really?
effort by the government of India. Yeah, because when you talk to people, they are invariably in this group I'm talking. And the senior citizens among them, they have seen the rest of the world. And they also want to look at India. Now, there is also one group who are Indophiles. You know, they want to come to India. They've heard about
They love
India.
it. They-
And like the earlier President Clinton said, there are two types of people in the world: the ones who have seen the Taj Mahal and the ones who have not seen the Taj Mahal. So statements like this add up.
Yes.
And it's always been the golden triangle of Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, which has been the forefront of tourism efforts, department's efforts to get tourists. But now destinations like Goa, Kerala, they have surpassed in their own marketing efforts to get tourists.
We are sitting right here in Tamil Nadu. How about Tamil Nadu on the tourism map?
Tamil Nadu on the tourism map is there, but then we've been driving this temple tourism, and it's not much of experiential aspect for them. They've seen one temple, they've seen the second temple, and that's it. They don't want to see any more temples. What else do we have to offer them? We have beaches, but then we don't compare those beaches with what they have in the west of that part or any part of the globe. So what else is there apart from the temples? So you look at Kerala, you have backwaters, you have Ayurveda, you have Kathakali. They have exploited it as a 365-day destination.
Absolutely. Kerala has done such an amazing job
Absolutely.
in sort of promoting their state.
Absolutely.
What would you like to see being done for Tamil Nadu, for instance? Which is your main area of operation?
My main area of operation now is MICE, which is meetings, incentives, conferences.
We'll come to that in a bit,
Yeah,
yes.
so, but tourism per se, people have to have experiential activities thrown in. You have the backwaters, they see for themselves in Kerala. What do you have in Tamil Nadu for that? They're not interested in maybe going to Ooty or Kodaikanal because they have enough of those spots where the temperature is low enough. They are running away from the wind actually when they
Yes.
come here during their winter months. So they need to have more things to do, explore. And in this, I think the tourism department's activities have to be focused on that, experience. Experiential tourism is the keyword.
Right. When you're talking about people coming into India, we were talking about, do you think the infrastructure that we have in our country, maybe specifically Tamil Nadu, is adequate to actually cater to the needs of foreign people who are coming into our country?
Jennifer, it's like this. If you look at infrastructure, what infrastructure do you have in Africa? But still people go and see the African safari.
The animals are just
Right.
beautiful.
And there is a lot to do in terms of infrastructure for roads especially. You have roads which are so badly maintained in some stretches. Tamil Nadu that way has got a little better.
Pretty good, yes.
Yeah, ahead of the rest of the states in the south. For example, Kerala roads are much worse. So you can see it doesn't make that much of a difference. But the main thing is what turns them off is garbage, filth accumulated on the roadsides. they say, why can't the government do anything about it?
Is it that simple? Is it just about garbage?
It is, they get repulsed by this.
Really?
You know, tourism depends on people going back and telling, hey, I went to a great place and you should go and see the place. But then they get repulsed by this filth, garbage, and accumulated over days and weeks. So much so they cannot understand, they cannot figure out why this is happening. And you see, I'm sorry to say, but people squatting on roadsides.
Yes.
If you go to a fort, you have it littered with all sorts of
Right.
things. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes.
So these are the things which need to be controlled and which can really help in creating a clean place to
Right.
visit.
I did hear it said by a visitor to this country that they went to a beautiful beach and it was just like a public toilet. And
Absolutely.
is that what we're talking about
This
here?
is exactly what we're talking about. Just make that little effort to make places clean. People will come naturally because we have abundance of natural scenery, scenic locations, what more experiences are there. But then people should not get repulsed and say, don't go back to that place.
Right.
Because the word of mouth
Yeah.
really contributes a lot.
Okay. We'll go away for a very short break, but be right back with you and then talk to Dr. Ajit Kumar more about what he's doing specifically these days in the tourism sector.